What a difference a result makes, of course, for Manchester United fans. Finally, they had something to smile about after beating Liverpool on Monday. They'll be looking to continue that momentum into Saturday's clash at St Mary's against Southampton in the early game. The bookies have them as favourites to take all 3 points from the South Coast. Ian, Nedum, Shaka with us. Nedum, they can't muck this up, can they?
No, of course not. And, me being the only person to put them in the top four, of course they're going to win. This is the charge for Man United to get back towards the top. It all makes sense. Obviously, I'm going to be blowing hot and cold every week, depending on how it goes. But, I think in this game that they'll have against Southampton, I don't think Southampton, even though they're playing at home, won't be as open as, say, Liverpool were for some of those moments within that match. So it's going to be a different sort of tie from them, where they're probably going to be on the front foot for the majority, but come up against a side who maybe defensively will have that sort of mindset first over attack. But, what we saw against Liverpool, it was, in my opinion, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Old Trafford was rocking. The players were energetic. You can see that, they've got it in their minds now. They need to run first before they do anything else. So if they're going to be taking that form on board and recognise the importance of that result, because I think that was Liverpool's first loss in the league in 21 games, if you're a team that inflicts that upon them, then you must be, in some ways, capable of putting out good performances. So I think as they go down to Southampton, if they've got the right mindset, then I think they'll be fine. But if they present the mindset that they had maybe against Brentford away, the game might be long gone by the time they even sort of realise what they need to do. But as it stands, I believe that the charge starts now, Dan, and that quest for the top four continues with a win away at Southampton.
Imagine, Craig, if they muck this up. All that goodwill, all that optimism.
Back in the old days, you used to walk in the dressing room during the week or the training ground, whatever it was, with all your buddies, your colleagues, and quite a lot of them would be sitting there reading the paper.
Right.
Not sure how many are reading papers now. But the point being is, if I was the manager, I'd be going in, swiping in and away all week that they've been reading.
Right.
Because don't believe that some of the headlines, which were, I think, correct, saying magnificent performance, that's more like it, that kind of generalisation, forget that. Because that was one game, and I think I heard Ten Hag talk about it, I think it was to Sky Sports after the game when he was talking about, I think he is a very focused guy like that. Whether his players are remains to be seen. About no point talking about this if we muck it up next week.
Sure.
So, that would really just put them back on the bottom step again. Southampton are a team, I think I mentioned this to you, I've got them close to the relegation zone this year. I think it's going to be a struggle for them. There's already some rumblings coming out at the start of the season about some of the players in Ralph Hasenhüttl. They've had a couple of decent results, unexpectedly coming back from 2-0 down at home against Leeds. But if Man United apply themselves in that manner in which they did against Man United, particularly for the first half an hour, then it's theirs to throw away.
Yeah.
It's theirs to throw away. And it's about, they need to put a marker down to say, OK, it is Southampton, but yeah, Monday night was not an anomaly. That's the standard we've set. This is the way we're going to carry on. Where it takes us is where it takes us. But that's the standard of play. I think I might be right in saying early in the season last year, or certainly before Solskjaer was sacked, they went down to the South Coast. They either drew or were beaten. It was not a pretty performance, and they need a better one than they did last year.
We know that Martial will be out for that time, of course. He came on at half-time, Ian. But looking at that starting 11 that Craig said was so good in that opening half an hour, you stick with it? No Maguire? No Ronaldo?
The big question, I think, is does he play Casemiro, really, who's trained all week and is ready, and he hasn't brought him just to sit around, has he, on the bench? So I'm going to guess that Casemiro might come into the starting lineup for this game, maybe at the expense of McTominay. That would be a bit tough luck on him. But yeah, I mean, the boys are right. Manchester United have got to prove in this game, when they're not playing a big grudge game like Liverpool, that they really have turned a corner, that they can produce that sort of intensity again week in, week out. So in a way, this is as big a game as the Liverpool game, I think, for them. They've got to prove here now that they are going to kick on with proper fight, proper organisation. And, one or two players were revelations, really, compared to the form we've seen from them. Rashford, Sancho. So let's see.
No Ronaldo, no Maguire, Shaq, for you?
No, they can't feature. I think he goes with the same starting 11, and I take Ian's point that with Casemiro coming in, he may get a start, but I would go with the same starting 11 after that performance against Liverpool. Maybe leave Casemiro for another week or so.
Well, it goes back to the point I think Stevie was making early in the week about Ronaldo, where Back in the day, it would have been a bus journey. Today, it'll be a private jet, but it's still travel all the way down to the south coast.
Yep.
To sit there in the dreary south coast.
Well, Southampton's quite nice. I lived there for a while. It's lovely.
It can't be nice if you live there.
It was beautiful.
That's down there. Every time I would go there, it's dreary and dull. And
it's not Portsmouth.
And travelling all the way down there to sit on the bench and be a bit part. Why would you change it? Why would you change the team unless you have to with injury? It makes no sense. There's no place in the team for Maguire. There's no place in the team for Ronaldo. What he had last week worked just fine. But it goes back to that point with this transfer window closing. A plane trip down, a hotel, being away, and really knowing as a guy who's been one of 2 top players for 15 years, is sitting on his backside at Southampton, watching others who have not played well in the last year, but had played well on Monday, and watching them going out and doing their stuff. That has to just whet his appetite to say to his advisors, just for God's sake, find a way, get me out of here.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.